Yeah, my mic's on. Yep. Okay.
I think Rebecca's.
All right. Oh, wait a second. Yeah. All set? Okay, why don't we start? We'll start by calling the meeting to order and beginning with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Doreen, would you call the roll, please?
Richard Silkman,
Here.
David Bork,
Here.
Joe Doherty,
Here.
and Peter Freilinger, and Rebecca Hatt. Here.
Okay, good. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of July 8th, 2020.
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, Peter's here. Okay.
Yep, I just got promoted to panelist, so I will turn on my video and I am here.
All right, great. Well, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So Rebecca, you are a voting member tonight. Okay. So we'll approve the minutes. Does you have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Thanks. Second. Thank you, David. Are there any comments or questions about the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor? Okay, good. Peter, you good?
I'm good.
Okay. On our action items, the first item on the agenda is appeal number 2800. Apparently, the folks have asked us to consider tabling that one more time. I know we've been carrying it along for a few months now, but I'm informed by staff that they are making progress and they've requested it to be tabled. So could I have a motion to table?
So moved.
Thank you, David. Second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Joe. Are there any questions or concerns about that?
May I?
Sure,
Okay.
jump in, David. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very important for the applicant to provide evidence from the state health department, which is the Health and Human Services Department, when they come in, to be able to show that their proposed project has been met by their approval.
Okay, this is on the variance.
Which one are you talking about?
I think you're one ahead of me on this one.
Okay, I'm not paying attention.
All right.
Forgive me.
No problem at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey,
Is the
Richard?
motion to table on the table, Peter?
Richard, I think for form's sake, we should ask them to make sure that they're ready for the next meeting. I think if we continue to table this repetitively, it sets a bad precedent. So I'd ask them to make sure that they're ready for the next meeting.
I think that that's their goal in tabling. When they tabled last month, which was the first time they had tabled, their intention was to come back in September. I think it was
Okay.
just the way that the action was done. So it's just 1 month at
Okay.
a time.
Gotcha. And it's weird to get things done this summer in Maine. I understand that. So, but yeah, okay, that's fine, Helen. Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, all in favor of tabling? I can do this with a show of hands. We're good. Any opposed? None? We're all set, Tori. Thank you. The second item is 4.02. It's appeal number 2802. It's a special exception for home occupation on 149 Pine Point Road by Johanna Conland and Christopher Till. I think we've all been provided with a staff comments on that, and all of you have seen the agenda. As Johanna is here, would you like to step up to and tell us a little bit about your business, and then we'll go through the standards that we have to meet, okay?
Of course, yes. Yes, I own jointly with my business partner a business called Pine Point Provisions. We are a meal delivery service. Currently, we cook out of a commercial kitchen in Gorham, Maine at the First Parish Church downtown. And we're looking to streamline what we do. We have, things at my house and things at Sophie's house and things in Gorham. And we really want to keep, in order to be more productive and hopefully grow, put everything in one place and just to have some flexibility, and have a kitchen of our own that we control and we can, yeah, I don't know. So that's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to put into like a shed attached to my 2-car garage, 14 by 28 space. It's already an existing space. There would be no build outside of that footprint. And that is where we would put the kitchen, which would then be subject to, inspection by the state, Department of Ag and all of that, which I'm not aware of.
Mhm. There any questions, David?
Yep. Okay, so you've been doing this in Gorham for some time
3 years.
out of a
yes.
shared space commercial kitchen.
It's the church's kitchen, but they very rarely use it, which is why 3 years ago they decided to rent the space.
Okay.
But yes, we've been there for 3 years.
Okay,
Mhm.
so as a tenant,
Correct.
okay. And have you ever owned your own food business and with your own facility
No,
for
no,
production before?
no, I
Okay.
have not.
All right, fine. Okay, just a quick question here. Have you discussed this at all with the main Health and Human Services Department for the purpose of them reviewing your plan?
I have not as of yet, but I do have a contact at the Department of Ag, Chad Young.
All right, that's a different agency.
Okay,
Okay.
he's the one that, okay,
And I'll explain why.
of course.
Department of Ag is strictly for non-perishable foods, such as, baked goods, things like that.
Okay,
The Department of Health and Human Services inspects all food, restaurants, food trucks,
Mhm.
caterers,
okay,
things like what you do. And there are literally thousands of these in the state of Maine.
okay,
Okay, but that's the agency that you need to be working with, not the
Okay.
Department of Ag.
okay. That's who inspected us that's who, we're licensed under. We're licensed under for what we do and, is with the Department of Agriculture.
Well, but you'll be licensed and inspected from time to time by the Health and Human Services Department, not the
Okay.
Department of Ag.
Okay, that's new, that's new to me. We haven't
Okay, but
thus
that's all right.
far.
Okay, are you familiar with Maine's cottage
Correct,
food
yes.
business laws?
Yes, we don't fall under that at all because we,
Yeah, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Okay, but basically, just for the purpose of informing the panel here,
Mhm.
and again, I don't want to get into too much weeds here with food issues, but this is very important, because what you're attempting to do here doesn't fall within the parameter of the food business cottage laws.
Correct.
Okay, because food business cottage laws are restricted to non-perishable shelf-stable products only.
Yes,
And from what I understand, you're doing meals
we are.
in which you'll be using the raw materials and you'll be preparing, and using potentially hazardous food products such as meat,
Mhm,
poultry, seafood,
mhm.
dairy products,
Mhm.
and many others that fall into that potentially hazardous product.
So,
Are both of you Serve Safe certified at the manager level?
we're both Serve Safe certified. I believe it's manager level. I have
There are two.
I have that at home. So
Okay.
I believe we both are, yes.
All right, okay.
I have my certificate at home. I should
I
have.
don't really feel comfortable, given what you've said so far, because you haven't really talked to anybody at the state who will be regulating you. And keep in mind that the people who do the regulation for all these thousands of food businesses
Mhm.
in the state of Maine, they're very short-staffed. They're, a lot of times they don't do restaurant inspections as often as they should, because they don't have the staff to do it.
As a point of interest, is that a prerequisite for the decision of this board? My understanding is that it's
Not at all, okay? But
Okay.
I don't think we should be approving something that's illegal at the state level. And
But
keep-
the health inspection happens after the point of the kitchen being developed. So right now they're here tonight to get approval to create a kitchen. The health inspection comes after the kitchen.
Here's the concern. This is gonna be a very expensive undertaking for them
Mhm.
to produce, to manufacture
Mhm.
a commercial food kitchen. For example, what type of cooking equipment are you using, the fuel source? What are you using?
Currently, it's propane.
Propane?
Mhm.
Okay. With propane or natural gas, you must have an exhaust hood with
Correct.
with an
Yes,
exhaust
which we would
system,
be installing.
which is a fire.
I think it was in all my paperwork. We're putting in an
I didn't
exhaust
see
hood.
anything like that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Yeah, no, it would, in order for, the conversations that I had with Chad, because again, he is the person that inspected the kitchen we currently cook in. He came through and made sure all of the water temps were correct, all the food was stored correctly, the meats and everything. And that is where we have our business license. It's all under the Department of Agriculture, because we are considered we have a mobile vendor and like a prepared meals producer, a food producer. So we're licensed for both of those things, as a mobile vendor because we deliver, and as a food production. So when I was speaking to him, I did speak to him about this, and he said, anytime you want me to come through, I can walk. He said he would walk through the site with me and give me any input as to what I would need in order to pass his inspection. I don't know if Gorham is different than Scarborough as far as which inspections are needed, but we have been operating for 3 years under this inspection.
I understand.
Okay.
Right, I'll further state that there are two local communities, Portland and South Portland, that have their own health departments
Mhm.
under the code enforcement branch of their governments, okay? But those are the only two locally. I believe Lewiston may also have that, not sure. But other than that, the state has to inspect.
Yes.
And it's the Department of Health and Human Services, because of the fact that you're going to be handling potentially hazardous food products, which are extremely temperature sensitive. So until you can show, something, then then I've got real concerns. Now, we could approve this subject to the approval by that could be a contingency here. So we could do that, but I just want to get that, out of the way before we go any further. Because it's really important that you understand what's going to be required, and you're going to have to show evidence. And not only that, show us not only that you must be able, once you're finally approved, if that happens, then submitting copies of your license, current license, as well as copies of all inspections as they occur, along with, what your plans are for correcting the violations, if there are any, so that we can be assured, well, the code enforcement department could be assured that
Mr. Chairman,
things are being maintained properly. So I just want to get that out of the way for everybody. And I'm saying this, having had a lot of experience in the food service business myself, and as a consultant to Fork Food Lab, which I'm sure you know about them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware of
Peter,
them.
Peter, you have a question? You just something want to
yeah,
ask?
I think we're getting, as David said he was not going to be, he unfortunately has gotten desperately into the weeds on this. We have an item that we need to take up as a board, which is number seven. The applicant has a technical and financial ability to meet the standards of this section and comply with any conditions by the board. The technical ability, I think, speaks to what David's asking right now. I'd say let's have the applicant go through what they have, and if there are concerns that David wishes to raise at that time, then I think we've got a place in the special exception a review process where he can raise that. And I appreciate him bringing it up now and bringing it up early, but in the interest of everyone's time, I think we have the format of the application gives us the space to do that at the right time.
I think that's Fair statement, Peter, I agree.
And I agree also. And I think we should proceed, without getting into that subject at all, really. But we should think about at the very end, subject to certain conditions being met. Okay, and then we can put those in.
Rebecca?
I was hoping you could tell me more about how you currently deliver your meals and what you're anticipating the traffic pattern to look like and
Mhm.
what your growth plan would be in the future, how that might affect traffic.
Of course. Currently, we prepare all of our meals and store all of our meals refrigerated at the church in Gorham. We then go Friday morning, and we have 4, depending on how many orders we have 4 marine coolers that are all have thermostats, like little thermometers, with ice packs, and those are packed up in our automobiles and deliveries. It's usually just myself and Sophie. Sometimes we do it together because it depends on how many orders we have, but we range from 20 to 40, say, per week. And typically it's 2 cars. We can fit 20 and 20 between all the coolers and such. And so we pack those up, and deliveries are done within a couple hours. And once we go, it's just her personal vehicle and my personal vehicle. We don't have a
So
van or anything like that.
on that,
As far as-
what do you mean by a marine cooler? Is that like just a giant Yeti that
It's like
This sort
a
of thing,
boat
or-
cooler, like gosh, it's like 2
so
foot
so
by
are you
4
are
foot.
you hauling it behind your car? Or are you storing like
No,
like
it's in
big
my
unit-
car.
Okay, got it. That's
Yeah.
that's helpful.
No,
I just
it's-
have no
it's-
idea what marine cooler means, so
It's like a boat cooler, I guess. It's if you sometimes we got them at BJ's, but you can
Okay.
see them at Costco. They are about yay long, yay
So
big.
They're not
and deep.
they're not small reefer units that you're hauling behind your truck or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Got it.
Nope.
That's all I was looking for. Thanks.
Yeah,
I
of
just
course.
didn't.
And as far as growth, we're hoping with the commercial kitchen that we will have more control, and perhaps we could do, at this point, we really just want control of our product. The storage at Gorham is minimal, so we can't really buy in bulk. So we don't have a lot of refrigerator space over there that's dedicated to us. So, we get like 2 shelves in the fridge all the time, so we can keep butter and half, things like that. We get like a quarter of the chest freezer. So what we're looking for is just being able to, even if we don't expand, better control our food costs. We can buy in bulk. We can have our own storage. We can have dry storage. We can have 2 refrigerators where we have all of our ingredients and we have all of our orders and all of that. But so it's expanding, but not really. It's still just the 2 of us. So there's really only so much 4 hands can do. So it's more being able to control the costs and such, and being able to have better margins for us.
Thank you. Are there any other questions before we go through the standards?
Okay, concerning how you purchase and store foods
Correct.
and other products,
Mhm.
not non-food products.
Mhm.
In the drawing, I saw 1 refrigerator. Is this correct?
I don't know if we had just 1.
Is that a single door or a double door fridge unit?
What I would like to have is 2 double door.
2 doubles, okay.
Mhm.
Now, are these?
That's my preference, and that will
are these
depend
rapid-
on money,
these
but
Rapid chilling,
I beg your pardon?
are they rapid chilling? So you have rapid airflow?
We haven't purchased them yet, but I mean, I could buy those, but we don't have any equipment yet. We haven't,
Oh, I see.
we don't want to get ahead of ourselves if we can't build this kitchen. I mean, we haven't purchased a thing yet.
Okay.
Because until we build the kitchen, we're not
Yeah.
investing any money until we know we can do it.
See provision for any kind of non-perishable food storage and chemicals and like a MOPS sink and, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're required to have a mop sink.
Yes, you are.
And the space in the front that we've dedicated will have a bathroom in it. And I was hoping to be able to it'll just be like a toilet, hand sink, and I'm hoping a mop sink in the corner of that.
Yeah, would you be storing anything at all in any other part of your home, including the garage?
I don't believe so.
Okay,
We
good.
would like to have, we want to have it all contained in the kitchen. There's just, I don't think we can have anything in the garage. Like, I think that falls outside of what we're allowed to do.
You would change you may get into changing the requirements that we look at in terms of what percentage of your space. But it doesn't sound like it would at this point. One last question concerning the shed.
Yes.
Do you plan to have heating, ventilation and air conditioning in that shed?
Yeah, we're hoping to do, what did we say, what is it called? A heat pump? Mini split heat pump.
Heat pump, good?
Yep.
That works. And along with that, how about hot water?
Hot water, yeah, we have a plumbing plan. We've got an estimate from a plumber to connect into our existing water
Okay,
source.
all right.
What is it? Oh, over 9.
What's over 9?
Yeah.
You could actually
Heat-
put that right in that unit.
I beg your pardon?
That could actually go right in that proposed area.
Yep.
It could.
Yeah.
It's very compact.
We really can't design their system for them, so let's, at some point, we're gonna have to decide they either can do this or they can't, and that comes later on, but I'd rather not get into the weeds in terms of what this thing actually looks like and whether they're gonna have the equipment, and eventually they're gonna have to do it, so let's jump ahead into the standards, yes.
I was just wanted to offer a sort of reminder overview of the larger process, as there are also, obviously there's state licensing requirements, there are town licensing requirements. There will be a code enforcement inspection review process through the building permitting process if this approval is granted. So I just want to flag that this is more about the use and the standards that are included in the application, which I do agree with Peter that we should start reviewing. But I just wanted to mention that there will be eyes on this beyond this board in terms of meeting those requirements and those that licensing. So even if this is approved tonight, it doesn't immediately mean that operations will begin without a license. So I just wanted to reassure that those
Thank you.
processes.
I was asking my questions based on what I saw in the plan that was submitted.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the things that I was asking about were not included in the scope of that plan.
Okay.
That's not a final drawing of any.
No, it was sort of
Okay.
our
Okay.
best guess,
Fine.
I guess.
That's it for preliminary sketch. Got it.
Yeah.
More on
Mr.
this,
Chairman, if I
Rebecca,
could-
or-
I was
Hold
gonna
on.
volunteer to read standard number 1.
Well, I was, I'll take care of it, but before we go, Peter, did you have anything else you were
Yeah,
jumped in?
I just add to what you just described, Richard. We aren't here to design, and also the applicant has to choose a point at which to enter the approval process of the multiple entities that will be involved. They've chosen effectively us in order to have the site approval available. Clearly, there will be decisions made beyond us. Our job then becomes asking whether the applicant has the capacity to meet the requirements of whether we think in our estimation, the applicant has the capacity to meet the requirements subsequent to us. And if we focus on that capacity question, I think we'll be well served.
Okay. What I'm gonna do is, there are standards that you have to meet in order for us to grant you approval.
Okay.
And you've included most of those in your application.
Mhm.
But what I want to do is get them into the record.
Oh, sure.
And the meeting is the official record of the proceeding. So I'm going to go through them one by one.
Okay.
The first is that the proposed use will not create unsanitary or unhealthful conditions by reason of sewage disposal, emissions to the air or water, or other aspects of its design or operation.
Sorry. I'm reading. my
If you can
response.
read it in, or if you have anything else to add, you can add it too. It's
I don't think so.
established
I
in the
think,
record.
I think it's pretty, pretty comprehensive. The commercial kitchen will be designed and operated in accordance with all applicable requirements of the town of Scarborough, the state of Maine, and the Maine Department of Health and Human Services. Plumbing will connect to the existing utility infrastructure serving the residents, and all wastewater will be disposed of through approved systems. Food preparation activities occur entirely indoors, and no hazardous emissions, outdoor waste, or pollutants will be generated beyond these typical of a licensed commercial kitchen.
Okay, thank you. The second standard is that the proposed use will not create unsafe vehicular or pedestrian traffic conditions when added to existing and foreseeable traffic in its vicinity.
The proposed use will generate minimal traffic. Pine Point Provisions operates as a meal delivery service with customers ordering online. There is no retail component and customers do not visit the property. Daily traffic consists primarily of the two owners arriving and departing, routine food deliveries, but actually that probably, like, I can't even imagine who would be delivering to me. I'm not sure why that's in there. Like a Cisco truck or something is not coming to my house. We get everything ourselves. And one delivery vehicle leaving the property, actually that's two, probably would be myself and Sophie, so sorry. Leaving the property to complete scheduled deliveries. These vehicle trips are limited and predictable and will not significantly increase traffic on the surrounding roadway.
The third standard is that the proposed use will not create public safety problems, which would be substantially different from those created by existing uses in the neighborhood or require a substantially greater degree of municipal fire or police protection than existing uses.
The proposed use presents no unusual public safety concerns. All work will occur inside the existing structure and will comply with applicable building, fire, electrical, and health codes. The business employs only its two owners and is not open to the public. The project is not expected to require additional police, fire, or emergency services beyond those normally provided to similar commercial kitchens or residences.
The fourth standard is that the proposed use will not result in sedimentation or erosion or have an adverse effect on water supplies.
No expansion of the building footprint or significant site disturbance is proposed. The project consists entirely of interior renovations within an existing structure. Because no new impervious surfaces or land disturbances are proposed, the project will not create erosion, sedimentation, or adverse impacts to groundwater or nearby water resources.
Fifth standard is the proposed use will be compatible with existing uses in the neighborhood with respect to physical size, visual impact, intensity of use, proximity to other structures, and density of development.
The project maintains the existing appearance and footprint of the property. No additions or exterior expansion are proposed. The property is located along a busy roadway that already contains a mix of residential, commercial, and recreational uses, including restaurants, seasonal food businesses, and a nature center offering canoe and kayak rentals. Compared with these neighboring businesses, the proposed use is relatively low intensity because it is not open to the public, generates very little traffic, and does not alter the visual character of the property.
The sixth item is the shoreland zone, and I understand this is not in the shoreland zone, so. The seventh item is the applicant has the technical and financial ability to meet the standards of this section and comply with any conditions imposed by the board.
The applicants have successfully owned and operated Pine Point Provisions for the past 3 years and have extensive experience operating a licensed commercial kitchen in compliance with all applicable food safety regulations. The applicants have secured the financial resources necessary to complete the project and are prepared to obtain all required permits and inspections. They are committed to complying with all applicable town ordinances and any reasonable conditions imposed by the board.
Since this was an issue that had raised questions earlier, I'll stop here and ask if anybody has any further questions about the applicant with respect to this item.
I'll say this, it's unusual for any food business to make it to 3 years. Most fail after a year, so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
To me, that shows that you've got the financial ability to be
Yeah.
able to deal with this. Obviously, you're gonna have to borrow money in order to pull this off,
Oh, yeah.
a lot.
Yep.
And that's fine. All right, so we
We're
understand.
prepared to
I don't have any
work
concern
hard.
Okay,
about this particular one.
all right.
Thank you.
The eighth and final standard is the proposed use will be compatible with existing uses in the neighborhood with respect to the generation of noise and hours of operation.
Operations will occur during normal daytime business hours, generally Monday through Friday. All food preparation activities occur indoors. The project will not include outdoor production, outdoor storage, amplified music, loading docks, or customer activity. Because the business is operated solely by the two owners, noise levels will be comparable to those of a typical residence and substantially less than many nearby commercial businesses.
Does anybody have any questions before we let her sit down? Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Anna. And what I'll do now is open the meeting for the public comment or questions. Is there any member of the public who wishes to speak here or online?
No
Nobody's
hands
on?
online.
Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public session and now it's open to discussion among the board members.
Mr. Chair, should we also be going through the performance standards before we do that?
That sounds good to me if we're willing.
Yeah, we can dive right in. I think that's,
Yep.
if there's no general comment, then yeah, let's dive right in.
On the performance standards,
What's that?
what are we looking at now?
I'm starting to look at the findings. I'm sorry.
Are the findings or there aren't any other standards that we have to meet, do we?
Well,
No, I think it's just
We're just gonna do
the
findings, right?
the fund. Yeah, exactly. Just the
Or-
I'm
the
looking
requirements
at it
under
right
the
here.
standard.
It was on the staff, it's in the staff comments.
Okay,
Those are also in the draft findings. So I don't know if you'd like to look at those ahead of time, or we can review them as you go through the findings. It's up to you.
As you wish, Mr. Chair.
all right. What I would suggest now at this point is that we go through each of the standards and establish our own findings on those. Is that what everybody is thinking about doing at this point? Okay,
Yep.
I was just confused with the
Yes.
performance standards. All right. Rebecca, why don't you start us off on number one, since you had offered to do that to begin with?
Thank you. The proposed use will not create unsanitary or unhealthful conditions by reason of sewage disposal, emissions to the air or water, or other aspects of its design or operations. To me, it doesn't appear to pose any unhealthy or unsanitary conditions. It sounds like they'll be working within the kitchen. They've already talked about being willing to install proper ventilation. I'm sure they'll have requisite inspections and help with the design and all of those lovely details later in the process. So I'm satisfied with this.
Anybody have any other comments on that? Should we do show of hands on each one as we go down? It's probably simpler to do it that way. All those in favor of it having met? Anybody opposed? Peter, you were delayed. That wasn't an opposition, was it?
No, that was not opposition. That was approval.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I'm
No.
just gonna, sorry, Mike Campbell joined the meeting after we started, so I'm gonna add him as a panelist so he can.
Okay,
participate. So,
Mike, I think you're on now, so we're on, just for your information, we're on the first of the applications that we're looking at. It's item 4.02. We've gone through the applicant's presentation, and we're now going through the standards to develop our own findings. Peter, you want to do number two?
Sure. Let me get to it real quick here. The proposed use will not create unsafe vehicular or pedestrian traffic conditions when added to the existing and foreseeable traffic in its vicinity. I think the applicants have established that their actual activity is quite limited. Basically, they're bringing supplies in every now and again, and then they have a once a week external delivery schedule. If we look at that section of Pine Point, there are obviously a couple of businesses further down along the way. The ice cream store and the Bailey's seafood restaurant, which are significantly greater throughput than this would constitute. And I think that there's not a lot of doubt here that this will not be an issue. So I would suggest that we find that the applicants have established that they will not create an issue here.
Any other comments on this one? Right. Okay, all in favor of the applicant having met the standard? Pardon me?
To be clear, who's the voting member?
Oh, you are, you were already elevated, so you are, yes, thank you. Any opposed? No, we're good on that one. David, you want to take us through number three?
Okay. The proposed use will not create public safety problems, which would be substantially different from those created by existing uses in the neighborhood, or require a substantial greater degree in municipal fire and police protection than existing uses in the neighborhood. I really don't see any negative impact here at all. The amount of traffic that will, additional traffic that'll be created is basically in the, going out and obtaining the products that are needed on a daily basis primarily, because they don't have a lot of storage space. And also in making, the 40 or so deliveries per week. That's a relatively small number, so it's minor impact.
Okay. Any comments or questions about that one? Seeing none, all in favor of having met the standard? Any opposed? No, we're good. Joe, you want to do number 4?
Sure. The proposed use will not result in sedimentation or erosion or have an adverse effect on water supplies. The proposed kitchen is within the existing footprint of the structure, so it's going to be limiting any physical disturbance on the exterior. So no, I don't have any concerns about sedimentation or erosion. And with respect to water supplies, the business is going to use the existing water and wastewater facilities within the existing building. So I don't have any concerns about this at all.
Okay. Any comments or questions about that one? Seeing none, all in favor? We're good. And nobody opposed? Okay. Item 5 is the proposed use will be compatible with existing uses in the neighborhood with respect to physical size, visual impact, intensity of use, proximity to other structures, and density of development. The applicant's not changing the existing footprint of any buildings, so whatever's there is going to stay there. We've always gone through the traffic issues and other issues on some of the other items, so I believe that they have met the standard and should be approved. Any comments or questions about this one? Okay, all in favor? Good, unanimous as well. Item 6, we're in the shoreline zone, so we don't have to vote on that one. Item 7, Rebecca, you want to take that one?
It's F, right? No, it's not F, it's G.
G,
Perfect.
yeah.
The applicant
Thank
has sufficient right, title, or interest in the site of the proposed use to be able to carry out the proposed use. It sounds like the assessor indicated that they are the property owners, so this seems satisfied.
Any comments or concerns about that one? All in favor? Okay. Are there any other ones or is that it?
There should be an 8.
Where are those in here?
I think we have one more, Mr. Chair.
Oh, we do, okay. H, Peter, you want to handle H?
Sure. The proposed use will be compatible with existing uses in the neighborhood with respect to the generation of noise and hours of operation. As we've indicated, the ins and outs for what they're looking to do are going to be well within
Aye.
normal activity for the neighborhood. And I'd point out too that again, there are a couple of businesses within a couple hundred yards of them that are operating into the 9 or 10 o'clock hour. This is not that business. This is this will be almost invisible in the fabric of the neighborhood. So I think we can find that they've met this standard.
Okay, just for all of it, we're dealing with number I. We'll come back and do H next. So anybody have any questions about I? All in favor? Any opposed? Nope, good. And if you want to take us through H.
Are you speaking to me? Okay, thank you. The applicant has the technical and financial abilities to meet the standards of this section and to comply with any conditions imposed by the Board of Appeals pursuant to subsection 5 of this section. I think 3 years in business is proof, even to bankers, that you have a viable business and you won't have any problem borrowing money just to show them your financial statements, and you should be okay. As far as any other conditions that we might impose upon it, I think it's just going to be providing records so that we are kept current with your status on your licensing and any kind of hopefully no violations, but you know, that's always an issue in food businesses. Because inspectors tend to be very nitpicky, as we know. So, no, I don't see us
Mr.
having
Chairman,
an issue at
as the
all.
only card-carrying member of the banking profession at the table, I reserve the right for the bank for any bank to deny a loan application for any reason. But otherwise, I concur with Mr. Bork.
All right, I just want to clarify one thing. You had said something about follow-up information to be provided. Are we the entity that would receive those, or is it that this would be
No,
going to the
no, not the
code
board.
enforcement officers?
No, this goes to code enforcement.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
so I'm just simply saying that, you know, we will likely, you know, be making a motion toward the end here to specify exactly what the, you know, documents that we want presented to code enforcement.
okay. So with that, any questions on H? No? All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous as well, Doreen. And now we can take up the actual application. I can have a motion to approve.
I move.
Standards.
Can I interrupt? There's a vote on the performance standards
Oh,
as a whole.
As a whole
Those
first,
have been met,
all right.
or if the applicants have demonstrated the capacity to adhere to them
Okay.
specifically.
I see that. You're
Actually,
right.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask staff? We've got a misalignment of the application from the actual numbered standards required. And we also don't have a space on the application for the discussion of performance standards that are relevant to a specific item. I think that's a gap. So, and it definitely makes it a little weird where some of us are using the A through H nomenclature, and I'm using the 1 through 8 nomenclature on the application itself. So I think staff should look to address that gap in documentation and settle on one standard versus another rather than leaving it ambiguous. This also
Understood,
comes up
yeah.
in the this has also come up before on the I'm forgetting right now, but on what we discussed in our learning session with
Practical difficulty.
practical difficulty. We just
Yeah,
need to
I was-
align that to make it easier for the public to understand both as applicants and as we go through the standards.
Yes.
Okay. So now we are on to the performance standards. David?
Mr. Chair, I would make a recommendation that we only consider item 9 and then vote as a whole for the performance standards. Item number 9 is the one that specifies the amount of space involved. And I think we just need to go on record that it meets that criteria.
Okay.
It-
Has
it-
this?
And
Peter,
in
go ahead.
general, I agree with that, David. I think if any one standard deserves to be applied, we should look at it in detail. Otherwise, we should have a single vote on all of the performance standards in concert.
That's all. I just wanted to bring it up for
Alright.
discussion and then vote on the whole. That's what I'm
Yeah.
suggesting.
If I could, just with respect to the space, in my reading of the standards is that they're allowed up to 400 square feet and accessory,
If it's in the home, which
Right.
it's not.
which it's not.
If it's-
Well, no, it's 1,000, right? It's
Yeah.
up to 1,000.
They could have 1,000 and what they have is less than 400.
Right, that was my point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
exactly.
just wanted to get that read in.
Well within the standard, and technically they could take probably half of their garage and expand this at some point and still be within the standard, so. Not that you necessarily want to do that, but you know, you probably could.
Okay. Is there anything else about the performance standards that anybody would like to go through before we vote? Okay. Is everybody believe that they've met the performance standards? All who believe, raise their hands, okay? Anybody opposed? No, we're good. So yes, unanimously. All right, having done all of that, I guess now we have the application to vote yes or no on. Can I have a motion to put it in front of us?
So moved.
Second? Rebecca, thank you. Any discussion about this before we vote?
I would just like to add an amendment to this requirement for them to provide the code enforcement office not only with their current license and all the other requirements for occupancy, which are just normal for any, you know, building, but also copies of all health inspections along with a plan to correct any variations at all from what the standards are by the health department. And to be able to then show us that the corrections have been made and to provide those on an ongoing basis so that we have that on file. So,
I think, Mr. Chairman, that would become a motion subject to that amendment.
yes,
What we have right now is we've got the motion on the floor. David has made an amendment to the motion. And so we can vote on his amendment after we have discussion of, well, we'll have to have it seconded first, and then we can have some discussion about it. Does anybody second David's amendment to condition this on the reporting as he's just described?
If I could, I don't see, I mean, David, you're far more familiar with these processes, but there is a process in place. This seems to be one of the first steps. There are subsequent, inspections and build out and approval of all sorts of approvals, not just open the business, but then at both the local and state level, I have to assume we have, once a business is up and operating, there are state and local statutes that require periodic inspections. I think, and reporting along with that, I think it might be, for me, it seems a step too far to now place an additional burden on the business owner to make sure that there's some additional filings that, if we don't require them of other businesses that are also living by these same local and state standards, same inspection schedules, et cetera, it just seems a step too far for me.
okay, well, let me respond to that by asking the planning department folks who are here, do you routinely receive health department inspections from the state for
Let me object to that one, David.
He's asked the question. She's ready to answer it, Peter. We'll come back to you in a minute.
Gotcha, yeah.
Neither of us work directly in the code enforcement office. We work in the planning department specifically. So I will say we don't have firsthand experience with the health inspection side of it. But what I will say is that there is a code enforcement process for reviewing a building permit, issuing a CO, a certificate of occupancy. And a lot of that, all of it is contingent on passing certain inspections, having the licensing that's required in place, having the registrations in place. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. But there is a process that would be sort of maintaining those inspections and healthful conditions without the board necessarily needing to put that as a condition. You're welcome to add some conditional language, but the processes are in place
Okay,
with the current system.
Okay, before,
Peter, you would want to say something.
yes, I think we're now moving well beyond the four corners of what the zoning board has authority over. We've established already by a finding of fact that the applicant has the technical capacity to meet the needs of operating the business as they've described it. That should be sufficient to meet Mr. Bork's questions and not require going beyond what we normally would ask of zoning applications for information that would be the purview of the code enforcement office, the health department, or whatever. I don't feel comfortable with us expanding our remit and establishing effectively an environment of doubting the applicant when we have already established that we believe they have the technical capacity to meet the requirements of the zoning statute.
Okay. Well, as a practical matter, nobody's seconded David's amendment yet. We've had the discussion about it. Before we go further, I'll ask if there is a second. If there's not, then we won't deal with it. So
let me ask, just one additional thing. I have a serious concern about whether or not this particular type of kitchen is legal in the state of Maine under the cottage laws. Cottage laws are designed for one particular type of food production, which is non-perishable state shelf safe food products. What they're proposing is not, okay? They're highly perishable because they include meat, poultry, seafood, dairy products, and other highly perishable foods, okay? This is different. I'm not sure this is even legal. When they go to Health and Human Services, they'll find out. Okay, and if the Health and Human Services says, yeah, you can do that, fine. I have no concern.
Well, that's
So
so
what's the purpose?
Yeah.
You know, what, just withdraw my, rather than having a request for a second, I
Okay.
withdraw my.
that sounds fine. Any further discussion about the applicant? Okay. That's the
Chairman,
motion.
I'd like to move that we approve the application as written with no subsequent amendments.
All right, do we,
I'll second.
okay, good. All right, all those in favor, Doreen, could you do a roll? Actually, why don't we do a roll on this one?
Peter Freilinger,
Yes.
Rebecca Hack,
Yes.
Richard Superman,
Yes,
Joe Doherty,
Yes.
and David Wall.
No.
okay, so 4-1, we're good. You're all set.
Thank you so much for your time, guys. I appreciate it.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for all your insights as well. Very much.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 4.03. It's appeal number 2803. Special exception home occupation appeal by Leah Rice, 2 Timber Sands Drive in Scarborough. Is anybody here on behalf of the applicant?
Leah's online. Leah, you should be able to speak.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, great. I
I'm
just want to
here.
make sure, I know that Windows can get tricky with Zoom open, but that you have a copy of your application in front of you.
I do. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank
And,
you.
and Mr. Chairman, I
Yes,
think
Pete.
as we go through the items, could we go through A through, 1 through 8, as indicated in the applicant's application? Just because that helps us tie to her submission.
I'm not sure I understood the issue there.
Well,
On
if
the
you,
draft Findings. I
Oh,
have
the
labeled.
performance standards first? Okay.
Go to the.
I just want to clarify before we fully move on, who the voting member is. Mike appears to be online and my understanding is that he's first alternate, so I wanted to double check.
But we've already accepted you, and so.
Okay, I wasn't
we
sure
can-
if that was good for the whole
As
meeting.
far as I'm
Just
concerned, you are the voting member on this one, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Peter, just to clarify, were you asking to refer to each special exception standard as 1 through 8 instead of the letters, or to look at the performance standards first? Just to make sure I understood. Oh, Peter, you're muted. Sorry.
I'm both muted and trying to move around online here, so I apologize.
Well, you're now, we can now hear you, Peter. Yeah, I wasn't clear about what you were asking on this. Do you want us?
So if you
want
look at
us to
the
go through
application, if you look at the application, the standards for special exception are numbered 1 through 8.
Right. That's
But
what I
they're
thought you were
referenced
asking.
in the staff memo in a combination of A through H.
Yes,
Okay,
we will refer to them as 1 through 8.
I would propose that we go through them as the applicant was asked to respond to them, rather than how staff has chosen to organize them for the purposes of their findings.
so this is the way we did the first one. Go
Well,
through one-
kind of, yes. But
And then
Rebecca, yeah, we went back and forth, and that was throwing me off, and I was therefore inefficiently moving between documents. So
All right,
I would love to focus on the applicant's application rather than on how the staff organized their comments.
I think that sounds fine. We'll go through that. Before we do that, Leah, do you want to tell us a little bit about your application, your business, and then we can get into the description and whether or not the standards are met?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've lived in Scarborough for about a year now. I work a full-time corporate job, have always been very passionate about cooking and baking. So I am requesting approval to use my existing residential kitchen to prepare foods for sale, primarily at farmers markets, farm stands, and similar offsite venues. The kitchen will be used solely for food preparation, packaging, and storage associated. There will be no retail sales conducted at my residence. No customers will be visiting the property to purchase any goods, no public access to my home. As part of the operation, the business will function entirely as an off-site sales operation with products transported by me to approved market locations. And because all business activities will occur indoors with the existing kitchen and no customer traffic or commercial storefront, the use, will maintain the residential character of the property. So really just looking to have my residential kitchen certified so that I can start selling some of my goods offsite.
Before we get into the standards, does anybody have any overarching questions of Leah before we start? Okay. Leah, what I'm going to do is ask you, if you have your application in front of you,
Sure.
to respond to each of the standards for the special exceptions. And we're doing this to make sure that we have a full record of the proceedings. And this is the record, so we want to get it read into the record. So item 1 is that the proposed use will not create unsanitary or unhealthful conditions by reason of sewage disposal, emissions to the air or water, or other aspects of its design or operation.
Food preparation will take place in a clean, well-maintained residential kitchen in accordance with all applicable local and state food safety regulations and any permits or approvals required for the operation. Standard sanitization procedures will be followed, including proper cleaning and sanitization of food contact surfaces, safe food storage, temperature control, and appropriate waste disposal. The operation will not generate unusual emissions to the air or water, hazardous materials, or excessive wastewater beyond that of normal residential kitchen use. Existing residential plumbing and sewage systems are adequate for the limited scale of the operation, and all solid waste will be disposed of through regular municipal waste services. As a result, the proposed use will not create unsanitary or unhealthy conditions for neighboring properties or the surrounding community.
Anybody have any questions, Leah, on that? Okay. The second item is that the proposed use will not create unsafe vehicular or pedestrian traffic conditions when added to existing or foreseeable traffic in its vicinity.
The food preparation activities will occur inside my home and will not involve customers visiting the property. Products will be transported by me to farmers markets and other approved sales locations, resulting in only a limited number of additional vehicle trips comparable to normal residential use. No commercial deliveries, customer parking, or on-site sales are proposed. As a result, the project will not create unsafe vehicular or pedestrian traffic conditions or materially increase traffic in the neighborhood.
Anybody have any questions about that? Nope. The third item is the proposed use will not create public safety problems, which would be substantially different from those created by existing uses in the neighborhood, or require a substantially greater degree of municipal fire or police protection than existing uses in the neighborhood.
Food preparation will take place entirely within the existing residential kitchen using standard household cooking equipment and in compliance with applicable fire, building, and health regulations. The operation will not involve hazardous materials, on-site retail sales, customer visits, or gatherings at the property. Because the scale of the operation is small and consistent with normal residential kitchen and activities, it will not create public safety concerns that differ from those associated with other homes in the neighborhood or require a greater level of fire or police protection.
Okay. Any questions? No. The fourth is the proposed use will not result in sedimentation or erosion or have an adverse effect on water supplies.
The proposed use is limited to food preparation within an existing residential kitchen and does not involve any exterior construction, land disturbance, grading, or changes to the property. The project will not increase stormwater runoff or create conditions that would cause sedimentation or erosion. Water use will be similar to its normal residential use, and all wastewater will be discharged through the existing municipal water sewage system or existing approved septic system if applicable. As a result, the proposed use will not have an adverse effect on water supplies or surrounding natural resources.
Any questions? None? Item 5 is the proposed use will be compatible with existing uses in the neighborhood with respect to physical size, visual impact, intensity of use, proximity to other structures, and density of development.
The food preparation activities will take place entirely within the existing residential kitchen with no changes to the size or appearance of the home. The operation will not involve on-site retail sales, customer visits, outdoor storage, signage, or exterior modifications. The scale and intensity of the use will remain limited and comparable to normal residential activities, and there will be no increase in noise, traffic, or other impacts on neighboring properties. As a result, the proposed will be compatible with the surrounding residential neighborhood with respect to physical size, visual impact, intensity of use, proximity to other structures, and density of development.
Okay, any questions on that? No. Item 6 is, it's not in the shoreline, that's correct, Steph? Okay, item 7 is the applicant has the technical and financial ability to meet the standards of this section and to comply with any conditions imposed by the Board of Appeals pursuant to subsection 5 of this section.
I have the knowledge and resources necessary to operate the proposed home-based food business in compliance with all applicable local and state regulations. The operation will utilize my existing residential kitchen and equipment requiring only minimal additional investment. I'm committed to maintaining all required permits, licenses, and food safety practices, and I will comply with any reasonable conditions imposed by the Board of Appeals as part of the special exception approval. The limited scale of the operation ensures that it can be conducted safely, responsibly, and without placing additional demands on public resources.
Okay, any questions on that? Peter?
Yeah, Richard, I appreciate the assertions made by the applicant, but we've got no evidence to support it. It would be helpful to see a CV or some business record to understand that these statements or assertions are in fact true. The fact that she's managing the application process as professionally as she is, I think speaks well to it. But these remain only assertions as stated without any basis for us to find a fact. So I'll say that.
Okay, before you jump in, Lee, staff has something to add to that.
Yeah, I appreciate Peter's point. I wanted to provide a bit of background. This application came to staff's attention initially because Leah was actually pursuing the proper licensing requirements upstairs, which is the floor we're on now, with the town clerk. And so we actually, whereas the prior applicant was here kind of as a first step, Leah is here at kind of the third step, but 1 and 2 are waiting until we finish our review here. So I just wanted to provide that context as she has been pursuing those applications actively, if that helps.
These are the other applications that you will need in order to operate the business.
Correct. Mhm.
Okay.
No, and I say this partially, Leah, this has come up in other settings for us as a board. We often are faced with assertions by applicants, but without backgrounds of fact. Usually that means that people are saying everybody in my neighborhood has a porch on top of their garage, and they present no photographs or evidence thereof. This is a little different, and I acknowledge that. But again, my only point is that we only have what you've come to say to us, rather than any experience or evidence of fact that we can point to.
Yeah, I think you know, I am fully employed, and I have been for over 10 years now. So just kind of really managing my money to eventually figure out how to leave the corporate setting. You know, I've been saving, I've been investing. I own my home. So, you know, taking all of the necessary steps that I need to take to be able to eventually, you know, take the step to leave corporate America. This is kind of all part of that. But I'm happy to provide, you know, whatever records you feel are necessary, Peter.
No, and that in and of itself is enough for me. And I just direct staff to say that when we get these in the future, that might be helpful. Just to attach a CV or something like that to the application, saying, "Hey, I've got a good background in me, a responsible employee, manager, entrepreneur in other settings, and therefore my ability to run a business in my home in a home-based occupation is met." That would be great. Lee, I appreciate you doing this. This is not meant to be an attack on your ability to run the business by any means. I hopefully you don't take it that way. It's
No,
just,
not at all. Not at
yeah,
all.
so, and I thank you for giving us the additional detail.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Rebecca, you had something to add?
Yeah, just for the future, for a case like this, I personally would not expect to see much in the way of presentation of evidence. You're doing a home-based business that does not apparently require substantial modification to the existing kitchen, which is owned by the applicant. So it doesn't look like there's a substantial investment that's required for this type of business. And I think showing the necessary acumen to come request permits and go through this process shows at least some technical acumen, short of tasting the baked goods. I don't expect to see substantial proof of baking ability or experience if you're
We
just
have
starting
asked
out.
for that in the past, just as a general requirement for home-based baking.
It's coming your way.
Yeah, there should be a sampling platter available. Yeah,
You got it. You got it.
But just as a general matter, I think when we're at this low bar, I would not expect to see substantial assertions beyond having the capacity to have a kitchen and the willingness and interest in starting a business that requires very little upfront.
And I think that's fair. And I guess I'm reacting more to maybe the prior applicant, which is going to require more financial resources, and some of the folks who are doing the shellfish operations, which also require quite a bit of capital investment up front, and usually some of that. So again, a comment as much for staff as anyone, and I don't want this to overhang this applicant by any means.
Sure. David, you have something to add?
Yes, the bar is much lower on this type of home business than the one we just considered. And I'll explain why. The applicant is not preparing any highly perishable food products. Therefore, they're regulated by a different state agency, which is the Department of Agriculture. Department of Ag requirements are much different. And there isn't anything the applicant has to do in terms of making any modifications to their existing kitchens. They have an existing dishwasher, which is required. They have all the facilities they need, the hot water and everything else they need in order to be able to do what they're requesting to do. So there's very little investment, if any, except for buying the raw materials and the packaging equipment, labels, that sort of thing. That's the only additional expense here. And I think we need to just take that into consideration, that this is a much lower bar.
Yep. Okay.
And again, David, I'd agree. Just like you're right, Rebecca's right. Totally agree.
Thank you, Peter. Item 8 is the proposed use will be compatible with existing uses in the neighborhood with respect to the generation of noise and hours of operation.
Food preparation will take place indoors within the existing residential kitchen during normal daytime and early evening hours. The operation will not involve manufacturing equipment, amplified sound, customer visits, or other activities that would generate noise beyond that of a typical household. Transportation of products to and from farmers markets will be limited and infrequent. As a result, the proposed use will not create noise or operating hours that are incompatible with the surrounding residential neighborhood.
And then there's one that's not on here, which is G under the standards. The applicant has sufficient right, title, or interest in the site of the proposed use to be able to carry out the proposed use. Do you own the property?
I do.
Okay, that's good enough, I guess. All right, are there any other questions of the applicant before we, I say let her sit down, but she's probably already sitting. Okay, thank you very much, Leah.
Thank you.
I'll open this now for public comment. I mean, nobody's here. Anybody online? Probably not.
No one online.
No one online? Okay, nobody has any comments. The public hearing part of that is closed, and now the staff is, or the board will deliberate. We'll go through the findings and okay, we're all set. Rebecca, we started with you last time. We'll start with you again. Item A, we'll go through them this time by alphabet rather than by number.
Absolutely.
Okay,
The proposed use will not create unsanitary or unhealthful conditions by reason of sewage disposal, emissions to air or water, or other aspects of its design or operation. It doesn't appear to do any of that. It's self-contained within existing kitchen within the home, so this looks good.
any comments on that? Okay, one show of hands, all in favor? No opposed? That one's in the bag. Peter, you want to do B?
Sure. Let me go to B here. The proposed use will not create unsafe vehicular or pedestrian traffic conditions when added to existing and foreseeable traffic in its vicinity. Given the description of the business and specifically how products will be sold, which is at offsite and other things, but done by the owner. It's hard to see how this one is not met. So I would propose that we find that that this has been met by the applicant.
Any questions, comments on that? All in favor? Unanimous again? David, you want to take us through item C?
Sure. The proposed use will not create public safety problems, which would be substantially different from those created by existing uses in the neighborhood, or require substantially greater degree of municipal fire or police protection than existing uses in the neighborhood. The proposed use will have no impact whatsoever on the need or on the need for additional police or fire protection, as everything is handled inside the house. There's the type of food production involved here is minimal contact to cooking, and it's just really the type of products that she's proposing to sell, like jams and jellies and things of that nature, or baking breads and cookies and brownies. I mean, that's what people do at home all the time. So this isn't really going to change anything at all as far as additional impact.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this one? Hearing none, all in favor? Unanimous again on that. Joe, you want to do D?
The proposed use will not result in sedimentation or erosion or have an adverse effect on water supplies. The small business will be contained within the existing home, existing kitchen with minimal changes in equipment, so no exterior sedimentation or erosion issues are raised. And we'll also use the existing water supply to the home. So I believe that there's no adverse effect on any of those things.
Any comments? All in favor? Okay. Unanimous. I'll do E. The proposed use will be compatible with existing uses in the neighborhood with respect to physical size, visual impact, intensity of use, proximity to other structures, and density of development. And the applicant is using the existing kitchens. There is no change to the physical layout of the facility. It's not open to the public. We won't see much vehicular traffic. It's going to be very little impact on the neighborhood, certainly no visual impact because there are going to be no changes. So I believe the standard is met. Any comments? No? All in favor? Good. F, shoreland zone. I don't think we have to vote on that one. It is not in the shoreland zone. Item G is the applicant has right, title, or interest in the site of the proposed use to be able to carry out its business. The assessors records in this indicate that the applicant is the property owner and the owner has told us that she is. So I think that standard is met. Any comments, questions? All in favor? That one's done. Peter, you raised it. You get to do H.
Let's see. The applicant has the technical and financial ability to meet the standards of this section and to comply with any conditions imposed by the Board of Appeals pursuant to subsection 5 of this section. I would argue we take a real risk on this one without a robust sampling plate delivered at the earliest convenience with the most possible baked goods and jams and jellies. But in the absence of that, I think the applicant has more than met the standard for this and deserves the ability to move forward with her business.
Okay, any questions or comments on this one? No, I'm seeing none. All in favor? We're good. And Rebecca, why don't you handle I and bring us home?
The proposed use will be compatible with existing uses in the neighborhoods with respect to the generation of noise and hours of operation. The nature of the use is minimal impact. It's all contained within the kitchen. So I think this is satisfied.
Okay, any comments, questions? None? All in favor? Okay, this one's unanimous also. Turning now to the performance standards. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about any of those performance standards being met, having heard all of what we've heard in the discussion?
None.
None? One,
I hate to ask, but do we need to be concerned about the square footage?
I don't believe so. I was just pulling up the numbers, but I remember checking during my review and did not flag it, so
okay,
no staff concern.
good. All right, any other questions on this one before we vote? Seeing none?
No.
All those in favor? Opposed? No, we're good. So the performance standards have been met. Could I have a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Rebecca, second? Okay, good. Are there any other questions or concerns about it before we go forward with the vote? Doreen, would you like to call the roll on this one, please?
Richard Silverman,
Yes.
David Bork,
Yes.
Joe Doherty,
Yes.
Rebecca Hatt,
Yes.
and Peter Fowler.
Yes.
That one's approved. You're in business, Leah. Once you get all your other permits, you're good to go.
Thanks, Leah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's it, other than any other comments. Peter, you had raised the issue about modifying the application so that the numbers correspond to the letters. Is that okay to do?
Yeah,
Oh, that's fine. I can
I'd
do that.
appreciate that. If we're asking the applicants to meet a certain format in a certain line, format, I think we should respond to them in that format. And then also our findings of fact should conform to that. Change the application to be conform with the lettering standard in the ordinance. That's fine, but I just think we should do one or the other. It seems
agree.
weird.
I
Okay,
agree. I can fix it tomorrow.
all right, so that'll be done going forward. Becca, you had a question or something you wanted to
Yep.
ask?
I just wanted to comment that I think we had a very informative session last time around, and I noticed the draft findings in here were at a really good level of, not usurping the board's responsibility to come up with their own findings, but also giving us at least a little bit of insight into what the process has looked like for the applicant thus far. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to staff for helping with that. And for me personally, it's my first year on the board. So there's a lot to learn and a lot to try and understand. So I appreciate both the board's patience and also staff for helping out where they can.
Okay,
I'd like to second that. I just particularly note that a change has been made which requires the applicant to meet with the planning board at least 1 week in advance, if I'm not mistaken,
They have to have a meeting with us before submitting for the.
before submitting for the application. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you
there's
for-
no time.
Thank you,
frame,
Mark. And that's very, very helpful. We do appreciate that. That's going to help make things a lot
Yep.
more easy for us.
anything else for the good of the order?
Agreed.
I have a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All right, we're out of here, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, guys.